This morning we are seizing life because I'm actually going to go get a tattoo touch-up. I'm an idiot and forgot my keys. Alright, here is the book I'm reading. I'll talk more about that later. I'm just not the audience for obvious time for the Onyx Storm vlog. Does that mean they're dead? I will admit to still being quite confused about who's who. Like, do I think that Onyx Storm deserves all of the crazy hype it's getting? It's time. Oh my god. Leg day DOMs are the worst. Are you guys ready for this? I don't know if I'm ready for this. It is time. It is time for the Onyx Storm vlog. Everyone and their mother and their sister and their dog and their pet fish is reading this book at the moment, except maybe you. We all know as being intentionally hyperbolic. Anywho, this is the Onyx Storm vlog. Before we get into it, I've got a few things to share with you all. First of all, this was going to be the Buzzwordathon vlog. That'll come next, okay? I am in the biggest mood for more high fantasy romantasy, and that's because for the last 6 days, I've completely reread the entirety of the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. Not just A Court of Thorns and Roses, as you would have seen in my last vlog. I got into a bit of a funk. I don't want to get into it too much because it's just kind of like mental. I feel very dramatic calling it like mental illness stuff. I just get into these slightly depressive funks. And that's where I was. And so for 5 days, all I did was read. Akata, just all the Akos. And I loved them as much as I did last time, to the point where I almost decided to pick up Crescent City. But then my local bookstore said, Bethany, your Onyx Storm is ready for you to pick up. And this is me and my girlfriends' book club pick of the month for next month in February. Now, a bit of drama here, guys, straight off the bat. One of my girlfriends got it on Kindle, $18 Australian. One of my girlfriends hasn't bought it yet because they are still reading the second book in the series. And the other girlfriend got it, or at least told me, they have it in Big W for, I want to say $18. Tell me why this cost me $36. I've even got the receipt. So, oh, okay, 35, but $35. $35. Now look, I was like, you know what? I live close to a bookstore. I will support my local bookstore. I will put in my pre-order. And they can call me. And then, to be honest, it saves me a trip into the city to go find a Kmart or a Big W or another bookstore. But why is it double the price? Like, oh, my heart is like, you did a good thing. You're helping a bookstore. But my brain and my wallet are like, girl, what? So, hopefully this is a good book. Where I'm currently standing, let me give you the download on where I'm currently standing in the Empyrean series. Fourth Wing, loved it, devoured it, no crumbs. I thought it was great. I thought it was a really good book. I gave it 5 stars. The second book, was that Iron Flame? Iron Flame. I didn't like nearly as much as Fourth Wing. I'll keep it spoiler free, but ultimately I got really annoyed at the main characters. I hate miscommunication, and there was some miscommunication. I don't feel like that's a spoiler. If you haven't read it yet, be aware there's miscommunication. And I felt like it was really slow. However, something that Rebecca Yarros does really well is in the last 100 pages of a book, she leaves you wanting more. And so I do want to know what happens in this novel. However, I've also kind of forgotten what happens overall in the first 2 novels. So my plan right now is I'm going to go on YouTube, no doubt find a booktuber who has done like a, oh, you need to know before reading Onyx Storm kind of video. Then we're just going to get into it. So this vlog is purely Onyx Storm. This is the only book I'm going to be reading. If you are not interested in this, look, I have to admit the book cover is very pretty. If you are not interested in this book, please feel free to skip this vlog. I'll be doing my Buzzwordathon vlog next vlog video. I don't know what the second book in that vlog will be, but this is one of them. I will take you along with me. I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow. Again, I don't want to get too into it until I feel ready to talk about like my health situation at the moment, which is part of the reason for my Akata funk. I've got a doctor's appointment, then we've got Aussie Open on Saturday. I'll take you along with me if I'm still reading this, but We'll see. After reading all of those Sarah J Maas books, 520 pages feels really easy. Like, A Cod of Silver Flames was 700 pages. So let's get into it. By the way, I will keep this entire vlog completely spoiler-free until the very end. So like when I do my wrap-up and thoughts and all my like little check-ins, they'll be completely spoiler-free. But if you want to have like a spoilery thoughts and reviews, then that'll be at the very end of the video, just so you know. Okay, Fantasy Fangirls, mad respect for a whole hour of a wrap-up, but your girl is not that patient, so I think I'm literally going to go for the 20-minute one. Okay, that was a very useful video. I do now feel prepared to get into Onyx Storm. I did also see this absolutely hilarious reel, which I'll insert here.
A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. Welcome to the Fourth Wing.
It still makes me laugh. And I've also learned that I might be saying Basquiat, like the Academy name, wrong. In my head, it was Basquiat, but people are saying Basquiat. Now I'm lost. Anywho, we are going to read. Hang on. What's the first? How many pages are there without accidentally looking at the last line? Oh, there's the acknowledgements. I don't want to read the last word. Okay. So 526 pager, 52 pages will get me 10% of the way in. I'm going to see if I can get to page 50-ish so I can give you a 10% update, my first thoughts. Let's see what the first sentence is together. Okay, let's crack this spine together. Oh, whoa! Look at the art! Oh, that's a bit cute. All right, Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yaros. To the ones who don't run with the popular crowd, the ones who get caught reading under their desks, the ones who feel like they never get invited, included, or represented, get your leathers, we have dragons to ride. I want a dragon. Okay. Oh, cool. Yes, for some trigger warnings, thank you. And then we have a bit of an overview. Much appreciated. Oh, love a good map. Oh, hell yeah. I'm definitely going to be referring to this. Wait, what? All events are true and names have been preserved to honour the courage of those fallen. Does that mean they're dead? Does that mean they're dead? Okay. We have a prologue. All right, let's do this. All right, as I make souvlaki, let me share with you my first 10% thoughts. First things first, I'm so grateful to myself and the people who made that video to actually think about watching a video, because holy moly, you get thrown straight back into it. There's so many characters. I still can't keep track of who's who. That page at the front of the book, which tells you who everyone is so helpful. But even that doesn't behold everyone. I feel like it could have to help me. So yeah, it does delve straight back into it. You have the prologue, which basically is exactly the same time where Iron Flame ends. Excuse me. And then you have 2 weeks later as chapter 1. So there really is a minimal gap between Iron Flame and Onyx Storm in terms of the timeline. In terms of just how much I'm enjoying it, I do really appreciate how we are thrown straight back in. Again, no spoilers, but Iron Flame doesn't exactly end. How can I say this? Iron Flame doesn't end with all conflicts resolved. Hopefully you guys are okay with me saying that. It is part of a series, so you can expect there to be more stories. So I feel like that's okay. But and then instead of Onyx Storm kind of meandering about and waiting about, they just get straight back into all of the events that are happening. I do like how action-packed it is. I just do find it hard to wrap my head around everything that's going on, because there is a lot going on. So that's basically my first thoughts. I did get to page 50, so I did finish the first 10%. Yeah, that's... I'm trying to think. I've got 30 more seconds of this time lapse to ramble. I do think if I had given myself enough time, I totally would have reread Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I do think that would have been properly helpful, but I just didn't, so here we are. I do think that this book seems shorter than Iron Flame, which was one of my main critiques of that book, because as I said at the beginning, it wasn't my favourite one, so I do appreciate that. Good morning, everybody. I am off to the doctor's. I need to go basically get a referral to see an orthopedic something or other. So let's go be an adult. Alright guys, doctor's appointment done. Thank goodness for Medicare, at least it got rid of 50% of the fee. I now need to go and check my private health insurance to see if it covers private surgery. There's a little library. Look, that's cute. Is there anything good in there? Oh, there's a copy of Gulliver's Travels. I do really want to read that. No, nothing for me. Good to know that's there though. Maybe if I come back this way to go to the doctor's again, I can bring some books. Anywho, I digress. Yeah, I need to see if I have private insurance, because I guess I feel comfortable filling you guys in. I never vlogged it, but early last year, like around Anzac Day, I injured my knee pretty badly, and it was to the point where I had to take 2 weeks off work, got on crutches, XYZ. I didn't have private health insurance, and I wasn't in a position where I could afford a physio, so I kind of just let it, I just let it heal itself. So then what happened is, over Christmas, it was starting to twinge again. I went to the physio, and then I left it a little step. I went to the physio, he did all these tests on me. He basically, he's my friend as well. He's someone I know outside of work and stuff. And he basically said, girl, I told you needed an MRI. I'm like, I know. He's like, here, I'll give you a referral. I'm like, thank you. Because MRIs are expensive. So literally earlier this week, I went and got my MRI done. $355. Private health doesn't cover it. Medicare doesn't cover it because it's not deemed like bad enough because I can walk on it and stuff. Oh, so stupid. So stupid. So I got my MRI, then the MRI results came back, and turns out it was a medial torn meniscus. So I really should have gone and seen a physio prior to that, but it's okay. I mean, it's not okay. I ideally need knee surgery, which is wild. I'm not even 30, but it is what it is. So I need to go see if I have private health insurance. Again, interrupting here, I do have private health insurance. I already knew that. It's more if my private health insurance covered surgeries born of accidents. I still need to figure it out. If I don't, and I still want to go private, apparently it's going to cost like $6,000. So that's a bit wild. I cannot afford that. So let's hope. Otherwise, I don't know. We'll figure something out. She'll be right. I just have to keep manifesting that she'll be right. In other news though, the reason why I'm walking right now, not public transporting, is because as I was coming out the doctor's, I saw my local library's van. So the way libraries work in, at least Melbourne, is there's multiple libraries that are all parts of, like, I'm going to call them syndicates. I don't know if that is the right word, but for example, you have like the Melbourne City, so the Melbourne City libraries, of which there are like 7 of them. You have, what's another example, South Yarra libraries, you have a bunch of them. You have the Dandenong libraries, Outmore, like when I was living with my uncle, and there's like a bunch of those. But if it's within the same syndicate, you can get books delivered. So let's say Library A in the South Yarra syndicate has a book you want, but your local library is South Yarra Syndicate Library D. They can move between libraries, and I just saw the little van that does my local syndicates ones being like, books on the move, and I'm like, wait, I've got heaps of books on hold from other libraries. Checked the app, I have a book ready to pick up. So instead of public transporting, I'm just going to the library instead to go for a mooch and go pick up a book. So that's a thing. That is bigger than I thought. First of all, do you guys like my bookmark I chose for Onyx Storm? It's a dragon. Second of all, I have reached page 111. Oh, 111, angel number of Onyx Storm. And I have to say, I really think Yaros has the pace in this one. Oh, sorry. Has the pace in this one down better than the Iron Flame. And I can't tell if that's just because I have this weird prejudiced memory of Iron Flame. I didn't hate it. I just remember being bored in the middle of it. So to still be quite into this at the 100-page mark is cool. I think everything that's going on, like there's multiple side quests, multiple plot points going on. Again, I'm not going to... I don't really know... I don't want to spoil it, so I can't say heaps, but there's multiple plot points going on. There's something, let's keep this really broad. There is something that Violet is trying to solve. There is politics in play that Zayden Riosen is involved in. And there's, how do I word it? And there's power shifts happening, and it's keeping me decently hooked. I will admit to still being quite confused about who's who. Like, names of characters and their dragons are being thrown around like crazy, and it's just really hard to keep track of. So that's like, it's not even a critique, it's just a thing that I am continuing to struggle with, but I am still enjoying it. Oh, good evening, everybody. I have a reading update for you. But before I give you the reading update, a bit of context. Today was the Aussie Opens, and my friend and I and Titus, we went out to watch some of the tennis, and both her and I brought this book with us to read, like, between set breaks and matches and stuff. And then we came home and we both read together for an hour, which was actually so lovely. She's now finished the book, first in our book club to have finished it. And she was like gasping the whole way, which has gotten me so excited to keep reading this. In terms of my reading update, I'm page 372, which is basically 60% of the way through. Sorry, I haven't done an update since the 100-page update. Things have been progressing, and I will definitely say that I agree with past me, even more so than before, in terms of all the new names that are being cropped up, and it does just really confuse me, because people also then have like nicknames and shortenings, and then there's their dragon and griffin names, and it just gets very confusing. However, something I do like is that it's definitely more questy than the previous book. I definitely feel like there is more happening in this novel. It is more political than the other novel, so that's what I mean by there being a bunch of other like new names and stuff coming into play. I'm not gonna lie, I am often very confused, and I'm flicking to the map at the beginning trying to orientate myself on it, and then you learn that at some point the map kind of is somewhat useless anyway. And then I feel like the characters I do know, I'm not seeing as much of as I want. Like, I really want to see more of Mira, which is Violet's sister. So it's all just at a point right now where I'm liking it, but it's just taking me a lot of effort to read. And I totally recognize it's a personal experience, but that's just my experience with it so far. It's not as easy to flow through as some other fantasy readers, especially like, I'm not even just talking Sarah J Maas here, like romantasy. I'm talking even high fantasy, like Robin Hobb's Farseer trilogy. Is that the one that's called? Assassin's trilogy. Like the first of her trilogies is one I've read. Or like Brandon Sanderson's book I've read, where there's complex magic systems in place, but and multiple characters, but somehow it's easier for me to keep track of than when I'm reading Onyx Storm. So I don't really know what to tell you to do with that information. I just am sharing my experience, I suppose. But anyway, I'm going to sit here. I'm definitely going to keep reading. We've just come in from a evening out with that friend I mentioned earlier, and then another friend came and joined us, and we went and had dinner together, which was really nice. It was my first like social friends dinner in ages, I feel. I often do brunches, but not dinners. But I'm going to sit here, definitely read a bit more. I think I'm going to aim for 100 more pages so that I can finish this book tomorrow. That's the plan. Good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm in bed. It's because I've woken up and I just need to finish this book. I've got 70 pages left. I said it last night reading, as I said I would. Things happened. Like, I can't remember if I've said it in this vlog, if this was a conversation I was having with my friends, but Yaros is so good at making the last 100 and so pages intense. Like, everything gets, well, not everything gets answered. She's good at cliffhangers too, but things get answered. The action steps up another level. So I've got 70 pages left of this. A few revelations have been made within the last 50 or so pages, and I just need to keep reading. So let's do it. All right, team. I am actually at the train station. I've been thinking about Onyx Storm. I finished it a couple of days ago now, and I've been trying to figure out how to share my final thoughts with you. So spoiler free, honestly, you've kind of heard my thoughts as I've gone along. I have ultimately enjoyed the book. I'm going to give it 4 stars. I love the story for what it is, in terms of there's dragon, there's romance, there's fantasy. However, I couldn't give it a full 5 stars because I wasn't fully entranced, enthralled, absolutely addicted to it like I am with what I consider a 5-star book. And as you've heard me say multiple times, it's basically because I personally was just confused way too often. So many names were put in, so many characters that you see for a few chapters and then don't really hear from again. Whether we see them again in the future, I don't know. I do really thank Yaros for the map and for the character list. I do wish that the characters, there were more. I do wish that. I think that would have helped me so much with my personal reading experience. There's definitely some trigger warnings, so please do your research. Do I think overall that Onyx Storm deserves all of the crazy hype it's getting? I don't know really how I feel about answering that question. I'm saying this because someone asked me in my Instagram DM, someone DM'd me, and I'm like, the thing is, deserve is a hard, is that an adjective? Does something deserve it? Is that a verb? Deserve is a thing you get or get given. Day 1 of school and I'm already cooked. It depends on you as a reader. This is my train. I think it would be more accurate to say that I can understand why so many people love this series. It's been a while since we've had romantasy with dragons, at least that I'm aware of. And it's fun. It is a fun book. There's definitely some twists and turns. But for me, if someone said to me, hey, do you have any romantasy, high fantasy kind of romance books you would recommend? I don't think this Empyrean series would be my first suggestion, but with that being said, I definitely do intend to keep reading. I think there's meant to be 5 books in the series, just to keep up with the hype, to be honest. That you can't deny, even if you don't love it as a novel, that it's creating like a bit of a movement. In terms of my spoilery review, let me get home off this train first. All right, I am like halfway through getting dressed for the gym, but I just wanted to mention finish off this non-spoilery part of the review, because if you don't want to see my spoilery parts, you'll like stop watching now. I just want to say thank you for making it to the end. But if you have any other books that you want me to talk about as part of this like what the hype kind of series, let me know. I'm trying to get really on top of reading new releases, so if you've got any recommendations, please let a girl know, like if there's something you desperately want my thoughts on. Otherwise, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Enjoy all the places you go in your own reading and life adventures, and I will see you in the next one. If you are here for the spoilery review, stay tuned. Let me finish getting myself sorted. All right, spoilery part of the review. Ow, it's crispy. I need to moisturize my tattoo. Okay, here's my first thing. This book, a good portion of it, I'm kind of assuming you guys have read it, by the way, if you're here for the spoilery part, is the quest, right? When they're trying to find Andana's family and stuff, and they go through all the different islands and the isles to try and find things. That's where I found myself so confused by all the different names. I found that part really... I like the quest, like don't get me wrong, I like a good quest side mission, but it was obvious that they're not going to find Andana's type, like the 7th dragon type, during in the first isle, so that kind of annoyed me. I also just felt like Garrick's death? Who's the one that died with the arrow? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It wasn't Riddick. Was it Garrick? Okay, I've forgotten the character name already. This kind of proves my point about how hard it was for me to track everyone. But the person who died by being shot by the arrow, I feel like that was a cheap death and just one that was put in there for wow factor. It would have made so much more sense, not wow factor, shock factor. I feel like it would have made so much more sense if somebody had died in one of the multiple Venom fights. Whilst we're talking about deaths, like I said guys, this is spoilery as. The death of, oh my gosh, I forgot her name. I'm so bad with names on a good day anyway. Imogen's best friend who ends up getting killed. I found it really hard to care. Maybe I'm just a ruthless reader with no heart. But when there's so many characters, so many things going on, I can't even really remember the friend's name or much of her role, to be honest, especially not in the third book. I don't think we saw much of her. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't really care. And like, it sounds brutal, but like, so many of the main characters have survived all of the big battles, aside from Liam, R.I.P. It makes me feel like there's too much plot armor. I think that this would be better if there was a bit more Game of Thrones cutthroatness to it. And look, I know it's not a Game of Thrones book. I totally get that it's meant to be a romantasy, right? It's not a Game of Thrones kind of fantasy. It's its own kind of thing. This sounds so stupid because I know fantasy isn't realistic, so it doesn't need to be like, there doesn't need to be realism throughout all of it. But if you're gonna kill people off, I need to be sad about it. Otherwise, in my opinion, I haven't had enough emotional buy-in to love the book. My other issue with this novel, and this is such a personal taste thing, is that I just don't think I like Rebecca Yarros's writing style all that much. I don't hate it, obviously. Like 4 stars, I still enjoyed it. I still read a pretty big book pretty quickly. But there's something about her writing style, and I can't quite put my finger on it, that I don't love. And I can't tell if it's things being repetitive. I can't tell if it's the way maybe it's the way the dialogue happens, like the way characters speak to each other is either overtly cheesy and or like, come on, no one would actually say that. Again, I guess it comes back to that I don't believe it. It doesn't make, the characters don't feel real. Do you know what I mean if I say that? I feel like I'm kind of rambling, just trying to defend myself now. The characters don't feel real. Well, it's a fantasy, it's a fiction, I know, but I'm not buying into it. Anything else spoilery I want to mention? I have seen, previous to reading this, I accidentally got onto the algorithm of like Iron Flame and Fourth Wing and the Empyrean series. And there were so many theories floating around. I was super happy to see that none of those theories came to fruition. For example, Violet's second signet being something that defeats the Venom, or that her mother, Sorengale, got infected by the Venom when she was pregnant. Like, if that ends up happening in the future books, so be it. I mean, it can't happen because her second signet is already here. But like, if I'm just happy that none of those predictions came to fruition, because it meant that the book stayed fresh. And that's just on me. I don't know how you guys are, but like as a reader myself, I don't like reading the reviews to books before I will read them. The most I'll do is maybe have a look at the Goodreads star rating, but that doesn't make me, like, if it's less than a 4 stars, it doesn't make me not want to read the book. You know, if it's a 2 star, I'll be questioning it. But anything above 3, I'm like, meh, must be decent enough. You know, it's more than a passing grade. 3 stars out of 5 is 60%. That's what is that, a C, depending on what school you're at and what university you go to. So I don't read book reviews because I start looking out for what people have mentioned. So I'm kind of annoyed a little bit that I somehow managed to get sucked into the algorithm of the Empyrean series, but at least none of it came to fruition. And I know now that to just really stay away from that prior to reading. Also, okay, and this opinion might offend the masses, I don't love the Violet Xaden romance. It makes sense. I ship them. They are the people who should be together. But I just think that their relationship is so frustrating. We've spent 3 books now and they're not happily together. Like, you're selling me a romantasy and the romance is on again, off again, not happy. Just get on the same page already. Like, please stop trying to be so angsty with it all. Anyway, I'm going to go to the gym. I really need to get on to the next vlog, actually, which will be coming soon. And I also need to go to the library to pick up a new release that's come through. Crazy. I must have been the first person to put it on hold. Anywho, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video, especially if you're still here because you've listened to me ramble for way too long. So I'll leave you be. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Wait, I've already said that. Enjoy all the places you go in your reading and life adventures, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.